All right, so we are soon going to be printing, but before we do that, we have to get our paper torn down to the right size. So to do that, I'm gonna get a tear bar from over here where all of the rulers live, and the spatulas and other things. So this tear bar is a prized possession. You can see it's very large, it's heavy, and it's very sturdy. So if you need help carrying it, ask for help. But we don't want to drop it. We want to maintain this very straight edge, and we don't want to cut against this edge. And that's it. So now I'm on the other side of the wall, and I switched to this medium-sized tear bar that has the numbers on it. Still needs to be treated with great respect. Still an awesome device that you'll see in a second. The next thing, or really the first thing that I did in this area, was to spray down this station with Simple Green and take a rag, which are stored on the other side of the wall, and wipe this down really well. Whenever we are at this station, we should not have ink, we should not have anything really dirty, no charcoal, no pastels on this area. It should be kept really clean for our paper, but just in case somebody forgot that rule, you always want to clean the station, or in this case, actually it hadn't been used in a long time, so it was really dusty. So I cleaned off a lot of dust, and now I'm ready for my pristine paper. I also want to, for the same reasons, wipe down my tear bar and anything else that's going to come in contact with the paper, including my hands, right? So you want to, we always want to be washing our hands extra a lot right now, but it's always a good idea to make sure that you don't have anything on your hands that might ruin your paper before you even get started with your printing. Okay, so I have my 18 by 24 inch pad, and for most of the semester, we'll be tearing each sheet of paper down into quarters, which means 9 by 12. So half this way and half this way. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this off my station, and then I will pull the paper, which I cheated, I started a little bit before we got started. Pull the paper out of the pad. I'm going to hold one corner. The key when handling paper is to not, you don't want it to crease. You want to protect it and support it in ways that it won't bend or crease, because those creases will affect the print and they will kind of show through in your final image. So I'm going to start here, I'm going to pull a little bit, and then just carefully keep pulling my other hand up, tearing the paper out. Oh no. That feels like it's gonna rip, so I'm gonna actually start from the other direction. Oh, it's okay. There was some extra glue here, and it's fine. So now that I have this one sheet, I'm gonna close this and put it off to the side. Now, the next step is to measure out on the back of the paper. So we wanna measure out the size that we want our paper to be. So the back of the paper is the rougher side. So right now, you'll see this in person, but right now this is the smoother side, and this is what I want. I'm gonna be making marks on the back of the paper, and then that's also why I wanna make sure that this surface is super clean, because the front of my paper is going to be on it. So first things first, I'm gonna measure 12 inches on the length, and I'll just make a little mark. And then at the top, I'll do the same thing. 12 inches, make a little mark. If you want to remember more easily what the back of your paper is once you tear it, you can make a little X. Really light. Again, this is pencil. I do not recommend using pen for this phase of the process, but making little X's in each corner of your page. Now that I have these two very light marks, I'll take my tear bar, and the great thing about a tear bar, the fun thing about a tear bar, is it's very heavy, so it holds the paper down, And trying to line these up while I'm talking. And it has a beveled edge. So I want to point the bevel of this edge, which will allow me to get a nice tear without, it's a little hard to explain, but it allows you to get a really nice tear that's kind of like a knife edge, but with a little subtler texture than a knife edge. And I'm gonna hold this down. As I start, I'm gonna put my hand at the very top. And then as I move down, you'll see I'll kind of move my hand down so that this is getting really good pressure and support as I tear the paper. So here I go, again with one corner. What a great sound. So you want to keep a lot of pressure, or not a lot, but you want to keep a constant pressure as you're moving the paper down. So I'm kind of lifting this hand up as I move down. You'll get it. It's hard to explain, but easy to do. And the key is, as you get to the end, to maintain that same pressure so that the end still tears in a straight line. Now, you can cut your paper instead of doing the tearing. The tearing gives you this kind of nice little fuzzy edge that mimics a decal, which is something from a handmade sheet of paper. If you prefer to cut your paper, do not use a tear bar. Cutting against a tear bar will hurt this edge that we want to maintain. And so if you want to use a knife, use a metal ruler, and always put a cutting surface underneath so you're not cutting directly on any tables. So put a cutting mat, put the back of a sketchbook, turn the sketch pad over, cut on something that's not this table. Okay, so now I'm going to the next phase, and we're going to take this 12 by 18 piece and turn it into two 9 by 12 pieces. So I'm measuring 9 inches, 9 inches, move the tear bar back over carefully, line it up, double checking everything. And the smaller it is, the easier it is to handle. Something else that I wanted to mention about handling large sheets of paper in general is that you want to hold them corner to corner so that they create this kind of hammock and they can flex in a way that protects them, again, without creasing them. If you're kind of holding it like this or like this, there's more of a chance that there's going to be one of those kind of bends in the surface. And that's what you're going to do to tear your paper.